Positive energy all the time. Good to see everyone this evening. Hope you all doing great. Rep your city. I am representing Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to everybody on my Facebook. Pharaoh said that. Shout out to everybody on Twitch, everybody on Kick, everybody on YouTube, and my other Facebook account. Good to see everyone this evening. How you doing, April? We have Fresno, California in the building. We have Denver in the building. We have New Orleans in the building. We got Greensboro, North Carolina in the building. We got Naptown in the building. We got San Jose, California here. We got Rochester here. We got North Tulsa in the building. Positive energy all the time. We got Winston-Salem in the house. Who else? What other cities we got here? We are here. We are rocking and rolling. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Share. And hit the notification bell. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So this is an interesting conversation that I'm getting ready to talk about. Here we go. This is a very interesting conversation for sure. Yes, it is. Reparations. Reparations. We have Portland, Oregon in the building. Winston-Salem. Yes, indeed. Yes. I was watching Tariq Nasheed earlier today on Vlad TV. I caught up on His last few interviews, he did a really great job. We have New York, New York in the building. People talk crazy, but that's a highly informative brother. Got a lot of knowledge on him. Impressive. The type of people I wouldn't debate because we would agree on everything. So it wouldn't be anything to debate. Yeah, he's spot on with his information. The interview is great. I love the way he conduct himself when it comes to talking about FBA and reparations. Did a great job. Vlad was tongue tied, didn't know what to say. Was copping please. It was great group of interviews. I think I watched about 3 of them, 3 or 4 of them. You know, they chop them up and then they put the whole thing so they get more views, which is smart. So they'll chop it up into a bunch of 11-minute videos, and then afterwards they'll show the whole hour or so, whatever. Get a lot of views like that. Smart. Game the system. Yeah, Tyreek, he was knocking the ball out the park every time. It was great. It was great. He doesn't have anything against FBA, actually. He just made a statement and he was misinformed and he apologized. You know what I mean? He apologized and he's moving on. Vlad is maturing. He's apologizing when he says something crazy. It is what it is. I don't watch him too much. I don't really watch Vlad. I might watch who he's interviewing. If who he's interviewing, if I'm really interested in him, I will watch it. Because I feel like I'm watching the interviewer or the interviewee instead of the interviewer. So I wanted to see what Tyreek would say. It was right on point. That started stimulating my mind, and that's what brought up this conversation is from watching Vlad. Right? I'm not a fan of nothing, so that's. I'm not a fan. I never liked the word fan. You know, if I go see a group, a rock group, or R&B group, or a group that I enjoy, I don't like I don't like to be called a fan. It just to me, I don't know. Maybe it's because I got toxic masculinity, but I've never considered myself a fan. I just don't like the word. It sounds, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it fits, you know. Like if I like your music, I don't, you know what I mean? You know, it's just, I don't know. Even back before the internet, you know, G-Rod never, it just don't sound right. It sounds like kids. It sounds like kids just hollering and screaming over somebody, you know? I'm not the type of person that'll bump into Chief Keef or Dirk and say, hey, man, let me get a picture. I don't do pictures like that. You know? I don't know. No, it sounds more like somebody that want to get a picture. You know, I can't see myself trying to stand next to somebody and smile with a picture. You know what I'm saying? If I get a picture, just be coincidental. You know what I'm saying? For some type of historical purposes, you know, because I took some pictures with some Rastas, but I looked at it as more like a Rasta type thing. I didn't really look at it as like fans. If I take a picture with Burner Spirit and look at it like, oh, Burner Spirit a fan, I just looked at it like 2 Rastas, boom, you know. I took a picture with a lot of Rastas that wasn't musician, but I don't know if I've been a fan. I can't think if I've been a fan of anybody. I got to think of that. I ain't never been a fan. I never been excited over nobody. I think I would have been a fan as a kid, probably for James Brown. I probably would have been a fan. I probably would have been a fan for Muhammad Ali, Dr. J. When I was a little boy, as a grown man, hell no. Ain't no way. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not a fan. I don't, um, well, I'm a musician, so I play behind a lot of musicians. So they're just fellow musicians to me. But nah, nah, I don't got no lady that I don't got no lady that I admire like that. I don't got no lady. I don't got. There, I've never had a lady that I admire like that. The only ladies I admire are the ones in the bed with me at that time. You know, I only admire that A if it's right in my face. I don't admire no, you know, I don't admire nothing. You know, I never looked at Playboy magazines. I never looked at like naked cards or I never looked at porn. That's just me. They have different strokes for different folks. You know what I'm saying? I only admire a lady that's right there in my presence. That's it. Not nobody on no TV. It's like what I'm gonna do with her. She's on TV. I never had a crush. Nah, that you know what I'm saying? I'm black from the hood. Yeah, I'm black from the hood. I don't do crushes. I don't know what that is. I don't even know what that is. That sound like I don't know. It just sounds weird. It sounds like some European stuff, like some young Europeans. Oh man, I had such a crush on her. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like goof. I don't know. It sounds goofy, like a goofy. I'm have a crush. I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never hung no pictures up of no ladies in my room. I used to decorate my room to look spaced out or something for like decoration. But I never had nobody I hung up and looked at them. Oh man, Jimi Hendrix. I love Jimi Hendrix. Hell no. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I'm a player from the Himalayas. Trust me what I'm saying. Ain't no way. The only time I had some type of adorable feeling for a girl is if she go to school with me and I got to see her right there. I had that, but she right there. I got to see her 5 days a week. So I've had that. I've had girls I went to school with that I was like, ooh, wee. But that's because she right there. What up, Big Z man? I don't think I'm different. I think I'm normal. I'm sure I'm not the only one. None of my friends when I grew up, none of us had people's pictures hanging up. It might be a generational thing. How about an artist? Now I ain't never been no fan. I know no. I'll listen to your music. I'll listen to your music. I like the music. I listen to the music, but no, I'm not trying to go backstage and meet you. Uh-uh. Yeah, As soon as the concert over, I'm out. I go see the Ozzy Brothers. Boom. Concert over, I'm gone. I try to go backstage. Oh, Icy Burns, I love you so much. Come on, man. I've been in Jesus. I was a baby, boy. I was keep it gangster. I was not doing that. That's too weird. I think that's for nobodies or people that don't feel that they about something. Because if you the man, you the man. Ain't nobody else the man. How somebody else the man? How you looking up to somebody else? What? You know what I'm saying? Now we didn't do that. We didn't, that's some European stuff. We didn't do that. We didn't touch ourselves when I was growing up. That's European stuff. That wasn't in the black community. Nah, we didn't do that. You a European, huh, Marcus? Marcus T. Wow, you grew up in a white community, didn't you? You had to. Nah, I ain't never been touching on myself. Pause. Nah. I was nah. Mm-mm. All my moisture went inside of women. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. All my moisture go in a woman. And, it gotta go where it's supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? The goal is to get it up in there. You know what I'm saying? That's the goal. I don't know. What's that? I don't know. Hey, can't nobody, you know what I'm saying? I'm in Chicago, so I'm not around that. There's none of that. I don't live anywhere around Leave It to Beaver. You know what I'm saying? I don't live around Leave It to Beaver. So we ain't live that lifestyle. That's another culture. That's another culture. That ain't black culture. You know what I'm saying? That's not black. That's not foundational black American culture. Not at all. We was growing up, we didn't watch porn. Foundational black Americans didn't watch porn. Porn was not never big in foundational black America. Black men don't be talking about that. I don't know. I don't know about the new young generation. We never talked about stuff like that. So I don't know. I ain't never talked about weirdo stuff like that. We never talked about our girlfriends. We never talked about sex. That's just something growing up a black man. I'm born 1958. We ain't talk about what's going on with our girlfriends or nothing like that. That's European stuff. When I went to the Lutheran school, they was on that. They was on that when I went to the European school in the seventh and eighth grade, and it was especially high school. When I went to Lutheran high school, they was on that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's not only that, it's just nothing we don't talk about. We G's, we've been, I've been gangsters from a baby, you know what I'm saying? We on some gangster time. You know what I'm saying? We ain't, you know what I'm saying? We ain't not feminine. The mother dudes is feminine. That's a fact. Culturally, it's a feminine culture. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a toxic masculine culture. You know what I'm saying? We come outside, we say, man, you see Dr. J dunk on dude? You know what I'm saying? We on the basketball game. Who was hooping? We want to go hoop now. Ah, you know what I'm saying? And if we like 7, 8, 9, yeah, we'll go get an autograph from Dr. J. But man, by the time I'm 15, I'm on a goddamn autograph. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown man. I'm like a grown man. I'm like a grown man in the 7th, 8th grade. I be around brothers, but the brothers I be around, none of them was on that. You know what I'm saying? Plus, when I be around brothers, they don't come to me with the weirdo stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They don't do all that. You know what I'm saying? I don't do all that weirdo stuff on the internet and none of that stuff. I don't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got a problem with me, you got to come see me. You know what I'm saying? Get it off your chest. You know, just make sure you don't get nothing in your chest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you don't like me, come see me, get off your chest. You know, get it off your chest. Come get it off your chest. Now take that with you. You know what I'm saying? Come get it off your chest. You know what I'm saying? You know, that internet stuff. I don't do it, you know. As soon as I see you on the internet, try to talk about me and stuff, like I already know you're soft. You know what I'm saying? I don't got time for that, bro. You're soft. You know what I'm saying? You live somewhere. You live somewhere weird. You know what I'm saying? You don't live here for sure. You definitely don't live in Chicago. So don't try to get me to back and forth with you on social media. Holler at me in real life. You know, I'll be going on a book tour, me and a couple of my associates. And you'll get a chance to test the waters. My cousin, he's so anxious to come out there. Oh, my cousin, he's really fired up for this book tour. He cannot wait to meet possible ops. But tonight we're talking about something else. You know what I'm saying? We'll let a couple more people come in. That's cool. It's cool to have an early conversation before we really get into it. Let 100 people get over here or something. Nah. First off, you ain't gonna be able to get to me. You know what I'm saying? You're not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. You know what I mean? The only way you be able to get to me, you buy a book and I gotta autograph it. You know what I'm saying? So you buy a book, I'll be able to autograph it. Other than that, I'll be busy trying to, promote the book and do the tour. And no foolishness, you know. But I got an interesting conversation tonight. People are always talking about we need to unify. We need to unify. You know, the Unify brothers never be unified. The brothers always talk about we need to unify. They never be unified with nothing. They never can show you no unified nothing. You ever notice that? Man, what we need to do is unify. All right, well, let me show me 100 dudes you unify with from all over the world. Oh, you ain't with none. All right, shut up with that fake. You know what I'm saying? That's what we really need to do. And they ain't even doing it. You know what I'm saying? That's big in like these different religious groups and black conscience and black power. Them are some of the most funniest people you ever want to meet. They like to talk it. Yeah, You know, that's it. They don't manifest nothing like that. Don't you know if all these we need to unify brothers would stand on something, we'd be unified already. It's just this. That's it. It's phony, like the red, the black, the green with the key, sissy. And where they at? You know what I'm saying? All that up in the puppet. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I don't watch Vicky Dillon. I don't watch Vicky Dillon. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know what I'm saying? I used to watch her a little bit, but she just, I don't find it interesting. I watch a wide variety of stuff. I don't, you know, I mean, nah, G-Rod, I'm not. Mm-mm. Nah, security will be there and take your best shot. Security will be there, and you know, if you're in the streets, G-Rod, you know body language, you know everything. You can, you know what I'm saying? It's not, you know what I'm saying? You see people, you know their energy like that. You know what I'm saying? You know body language, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, like I don't watch that kind of stuff. I don't watch that kind of stuff, Marquise. I watch a wide variety of information, stuff about health, stuff about the environment. You know, my subscriptions is broad, so I could really expand. You know what I'm saying? I watch a wide variety of information. I don't watch the same. I don't watch a certain niche. I don't watch. And there's certain things. You can't talk about it, you got to be about it. If you're super black, then you need to be super black, you know? But if you're talking super black, but you ain't really looking super black, you looking, I don't know, but not nothing we would have called black like that. So I just don't watch a lot of weird stuff. I ain't got nothing against the sister. It's just, it's not my cup of tea. So tonight we're going to be talking about something very interesting. We're going to be talking about FBA and all the talk about we need to unify. We need to unify. We need to unify. I don't know if y'all noticed, but with so many people talking about we need to unify, why aren't the we need to unify people unified? Have you ever noticed that? If he's saying we need to unify, and he's saying we need to unify, and she's saying we need to unify, and she's saying it, why aren't they unified? The ones that be talking unified. Have you ever noticed they're not unified with nobody? Have you noticed that? Because people like to say stuff like a minister they like to say something that sound positive. That's why a lot of people don't like me, because they want me to come over here and they want me to talk positive like a preacher. They want me to hype them up with positive talk. You know, it's like a pimp gang with positivity pimp. So they want to get that euphoria so they don't really have to do nothing. So if you can come and I can talk a whole bunch of positivity and then you can feel all positive, then you could go back and not do nothing and say, okay, I got my little positive for the day. You know what I'm saying? It's like a fake pumping. You know what I'm saying? No, they're not expecting people to move at all, G-Rock. They don't even move. They're not expecting nobody to move. They're just talking. They have zero expectations. Because if you have expectations, then you're going to go out and you're going to make it happen. You're going to execute. If you have expectations to start a clothing line, what are you going to do? You're going to execute. You're not going to say, I need to start a clothing line. I'll get a clothing line. I need to start a clothing line. You're going to go. You're going to find distributors. You're going to try to find out what type of clothing you're going to sell. You're going to execute. If you're talking unity and you really want unity, you're going to execute. You're going to go unify. You're going to put some organization together. And you're going to build some type of unifying structure. Let's take a break and we'll finish. And so, you know, if you're like me and you've been around a bunch of positive black at 19, 20, 21, 22, by the time you get about 28, you pretty much have seen through it. You know, I was out here early. I've been listening to that early. You know, I was listening to Gil Scott-Heron and bumped into him at the Stevie Wonder concert. He was a junkie in the bathroom. He's on records, you know what I'm saying? Tell me what's the word, Johannesburg. You know, he's on the record. Winter in America. I bump into him in the bathroom. He's a junkie. I'm a shorty. I'm like 20. I'm like 21, 22. This is like somebody's music I'm listening to. we're supposed to be seeing Bob Marley, but Bob Marley passed away. So they reset up the concert with Gil Scott-Heron and Stevie Wonder. That's when Stevie Wonder had the reggae song. We be jamming now, you know, trying to do the reggae. Gil Scott performed. I wanted to go use the washroom before Stevie come on. I go in the washroom. I'm washing my hand. Who comes out the stall? Gil Scott-Heron. Brother, real skinny, sick, did a lot of talking. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about international black business. You see, right? That's what I'm talking about. Because talk is, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to doing something, you have to actually do it. Talking could be good, a good motivation, but it has to result into something. And the people aren't built. Yeah, Gil Scott, I don't respect no dope fiend talking all that nonsense and couldn't even take care of himself. And Gil Scott is a buster. I mean, man, listen. So you talking all that, you a two-bit junkie. What you think a young brother was thinking when he seen that man like that? Y'all think I respected him? I looked at him like, go sit your lying ass down. You ain't on nothing. I never liked him after that. I don't like no Gil Scott. Yeah, he was, hey man, I ain't gonna just make it up. These are real stories for real deal. Stevie Wonder and Gil Scott. Stevie Wonder and Gil Scott Aaron tour. Real business. They went on tour. When Bob Marley passed away, they put Gil Scott on the show. I was there. Gil Scott was one of my, you know, one of the people I used to listen to for black conscious inspiration. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, he wasn't on nothing. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is Google it. You're gonna see it. You're gonna see them together. They went on tour. Gil Scott replaced. Well, really, Stevie Wonder replaced Bob Marley, and Gil Scott replaced Stevie Wonder. They moved Stevie Wonder up to the main act because Bob was going to be the main act. It was the Bob Marley tour. The first tickets I had, Bobby got sick with the cancer, so they made us turn the tickets in for the Bob Marley show. I wish I would have called them. They'd kept them. They'd been worth money, and instead get the tickets for the Gil Scott, for the Bob Marley and Stevie Wonder. They added Stevie Wonder because at first it was just Bob Marley by itself. Then he got sick. Then they rescheduled. So I turned in my Bob Marley ticket and they made it a bigger show. It's going to be Bob Marley and Stevie Wonder. But then, like about a week before the show, Bob passed away. So they threw Gil Scott Aaron on the show. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't cool. I mean, I'm watching them perform, but no, it wasn't cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it wasn't cool. No fake revolutionary being checked by a real revolutionary. I was a young revolutionary. And he got to get a demotion at that point. Oh, you got to sit down. You a fraud. Yeah, Gil Scott Aaron was a fraud. Don't talk about it, be about it. But now let's get to the conversation. You got a situation where you got FBA, and FBA is a way that we are identifying our lineage. We're not separating, we're identifying ourselves. Okay? Right? We're delineating. Right? And some people don't like it, right? Because they slow. Because delineate means indicate the exact position, right? To delineate something means to show or describe it precisely and in detail. So when we say we're delineating, we're saying that we're describing ourselves precisely. We don't want to be black. Okay? We're foundational black Americans, the original blacks when America was founded, to put the work in. Those are the old reparations for slavery and the whole 9 yards. Now, the failing diaspora black, whatever you want to call it, movement is bad, but it's a failing the Marcus Garvey ideology, right? Pan-African, the failing Pan-African movement. Many of them don't like FBA lineage ideology, but the Pan-Africans failed already. You've been Pan-African since forever. You ain't accomplished nothing. You're still trying to sell Pan-Africanism, and ain't nobody bought it yet. So they still trying to sell a failing Pan-African concept that has failed horribly. And they want to waste the time of foundational black Americans with this fake black unity. They want me to pretend I'm unified with Africans in Africa, because that's all you would be doing is pretending. Right? So they want this fake concept. Now, the horrible thing about the other blacks is they're already something separate. They're already Nigerians. They're already Jamaicans. But when we want to be something separate, they say, no, we need to unify. But none of them are unified. They're all delineated. They're all the same thing, what they're mad at FBA for being. Anybody say, no, you're a lie. All the other black people in the world are delineated. They are not no damn unified black people. Period. Now, a Nigerian can call himself a Nigerian. That's no problem. He don't got to be no African. He don't got to be no global black. He could just be a Nigerian. He could just be a Jamaican. He could be a Trinidadian. He could be a Crucian from St. Croix. Fine, no problem. We want to be foundational black Americans. Oh, you're separating. How am I separating from a bunch of separate black people that's already separated? Because if you're a Nigerian, you're separated. You don't identify as no African, no global African. You're not kumbayaing with no Ethiopians. The Africans are the most phoniest ones. Because you'll never see East Africans and West Africans together doing nothing. They need to shut the hell up. They're from the same landmass, and you'll never see Ethiopians with Ghanaians or Nigerians. Never. Never. There's no movement of East and West Africa unity. None. And you on the same landmass. And then you want us over here to pretend we unify with you. Pan-Africans are phony because they never pan their ass to Africa. Because Pan-Africanism is not reparations, it's repatriation. You're supposed to be going back to Africa. You're not supposed to be over here talking to me. You're a Pan-African. You need to Peter Pan to Africa. How long you going to be the King Kong of consciousness Pan-African, scamming people in the United States, but never want to take your ass to Africa? So Pan-Africans are phony. Because I was a young Pan-African and none of my OGs or none of my peers ever went to Africa to live. 1 year and 1 there and they come back. Marcus Garvey never went to Africa to live. He went to Canada and he went to Europe and passed away in Europe. He never Pan-Africaned. Never. He never went to Africa. And that's the red, black, and green flag man. That's your man. So Pan-Africanism is trash. The black unity concept is trash. It's trash. It's something to sound positive, but it's not tangible. I see my brightness go down on my computer. It wasn't plugged up. It was going to go out on me. So Pan-Africanism is phony, okay? It's phony. It's phony. Because all the Pan-Africans should be in Pan and they asked the Africans should be in Africa already. What's stopping you from going to Africa? I need you to be one too. That's what it's kind of like. No, we can't unite unless you unite too. Nothing stopping you blacks in the world that want to unite. What's stopping you? And so these people are phony. Blacks internationally are jealous of foundational Black Americans because we did better than all of them and we was in the worst situation. It's just that simple. We're the prodigal child. We're the stone that the builder refused, and we became the head cornerstone. It's just that simple. Other blacks are jealous. They was in Africa, they was in the Caribbean, they turned on their TV and they seen the Supremes and they seen Smokey Robinson and they seen the Temptations and they seen, Oscar Robertson and Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Cassius Clay, and they was hating. Because we've been way better than you other blacks for years now. We've been at the top of world fame for years. We've been famous. We are the most famous Black people on the planet. Africans are not famous like us. Neither are people in the Caribbean. You got Bob Marley, but we can cancel him with Michael Jackson. Then we still got Aretha Franklin, James Brown, the Temptations. What you got in Jamaica? Nobody. You don't got no big stars in Jamaica. Dennis Brown don't match no Smokey Robinson or no Temptations or no Supremes or nothing. The only one you got is Bob Marley. The rest of them would be B-listers if they was named next to us. Ouch, huh? That's why it was such a big deal when the Jamaican guy could run fast. They finally had somebody. Yeah, we've been at the Willie Mays and all of that. We've been at Gale Sayers and Willie Mays and Walter Paytons and stuff for years now. We've been the dominant blacks. And so there's this fake unity talk. We all got to come together. We all got to come together. The FBA, they're divided. We need to come together. It's like now that we're foundational Black Americans, now we need to come together. It seems to me, why aren't you already together? Why is it that now that we're foundational Black Americans, there's an urgency to come together? Where was that urgency before this? I just want to know. So you needed us over the last few years to call ourselves foundational Black Americans to start calling for unity. You wasn't calling for no unity before we delineated. Where? When? Africans ain't never called for no unity for nothing. They need to shut up totally. Show me where Africans have ever called for any type of unity. In America or in Africa. Africans ain't even calling for unity in Africa. So they are phony, really need to shut up. If you're an African brother and sister, and you talk about we need to unite, you need to shut up. You're a fraud and a phony because you never united in Africa a day in your life. You're a hater, and you're only promoting that to try to block something we're trying to do for ourselves. And to all you brothers and sisters in Africa, we cannot depend on you. You're not dependable. So please stop beating on your chest like we can work with you and get anything accomplished. We cannot. We can get nothing accomplished with Black Africans that aren't united in Africa. You cannot come over here from a divided continent talking no fake unity. West Africa ain't even united. Ghanaians ain't even united with Nigerians. You're just talking. You're just talking. Just talk. Fake and phony. Give me your biggest pro-Black person. I'll embarrass them. Because whoever's the biggest now is a baby and wasn't even out here when I was out here. All these people is new. Johnny come lately. Where was you in 78, 79? Where was that? None of them was out here. They're all Johnny come latelys. Never heard of them. They're no Chancellor Williams or no Dr. Yosef Benjamin. All these is bootleg babies running their mouth. I chase all of them off the stage. There's not a Pan-African out here that can stand on the stage. Man, I embarrass them. You're a little boy. Yeah, all you Pan-Africans out there, you little boys. Y'all are little boys. Y'all was born a few years ago. Y'all little boys. Y'all new. That's why your name don't ring no bells. You wasn't here. You wasn't here in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s. You probably showed up like a little bit after 2010 or something. All of a sudden I start seeing these Sarnetters and these people. Who the hell is these? Who is these little boys jumping in? Who is these little boys? Who is these little boys jumping in something? And so all this talk about unity, but guess what? There's no talk about global wealth. Ain't nobody talking about getting no global money. You don't see the Africans talk about getting no money. You don't see those weak Africans talking about any type of products to bring over here to get some money to the weak brothers and sisters from Africa. You're weak. I got love for them because I got good friends out, but you're weak. You're sitting on all the natural resources and you never talk global wealth. You ain't trying to distribute no products, no natural resources or nothing from Africa. You're just running your mouth. They got the one brother, I think he's from South Africa. He's always double. He never got nothing. He never brings no money to the table. He just be talking. We could unite and we could get together. The black sister with the glasses with the perm that's always talking pro-black stuff. She never talk about no money. Dr. Umar don't be talking about no money. He be begging for money, but he never talks about. Dr. Umar never talks about no economical development. Never. He never talks about us getting no money. He's always talking about come go to dinner with him, ladies, donate $500 to him. He has no economical plan. All he has is a begging Benny plan. Just begging. 2,000 years can't open a school. Why would I send my son to his school? What are you going to teach my son? How to be a dumbass and not know how to manage money and can't do nothing with no money? Dr. Umar is a bozo. Like 99.9% of Pan-Africans are bozos, okay? They have no military mentality and no economic mentality. They ain't going to fight and they ain't going to raise no money. They're like broke kitty cats. Go get them some cat litter in the cat box. So all this talk, FBA is divided. What was united? I must have missed the unity. If FBA is dividing black people, I must have missed the unity. I want somebody to point me out the unity that we divided. Because I must have missed it. Y'all keep letting people get away talking stupid. None of them would talk to me. Because you couldn't say to me that we divided, because I would be like, show me what we're divided. Because it'd have to be unified to be divided. I thought this is how you divide something. I thought you divide something like this. I didn't think you could divide nothing like this. That ain't put together. How you gonna divide this? This the Africans, this us. How you gonna divide that? That ain't unified. We ain't unified with no Africans. Africans ain't even unified with Africans. That's why I say Africans. When it comes to FBA, Africans really need to shut the hell up. They listen. Foundation Black Men, do not listen to no Africans about no unity. The Africans cannot talk about unity. They cannot talk about something they've never displayed on the continent in their life. They have no unity in Africa. So how you going to get African Americans are dividing us? Boy, if you don't shut your ass up, you got 1,000 tribes over there that hate each other. This was phony. But don't be, you know what I'm saying? They don't be talking to nobody like me. They put me on a big forum. I'll embarrass Africa. I'll embarrass Africa on a national forum. I will totally embarrass the continent. As a whole, Africans are losers on the African continent. They're the worst black people in the diaspora. It's the Africans, because they're the ones sitting on all the natural resources and can't do nothing. It's not even supposed to be no comparison to us and Africans when you sitting on the diamonds and sitting on the uranium and sitting on the cobalt and the coltan, the cola nuts, the chocolate, everything. The coffee in Ethiopia. It's not even supposed to be. How could you even compare yourself, me to you, and you sitting on all the natural resources? They cannot speak on FBA. They cannot speak on unity. An African cannot say that we need to be unified. Not nobody that's not unified speaking on that foundational Black Americans should unite with a bunch of divided Africans. I would ask an African, which African should I unite with? If an African said, brother, you dividing us, we should unite, I would ask them, which African should I unite with? Because the Africans ain't united. So I got to pick one. If this is the Africans united, then we can unite with them. But if this is the Africans, how are we going to unite with Africans that's like this? Somebody make some sense to me. If the Africans are united, then we can unite with them. But this is the Africans. How? So which one do I unite with? This one, this one, this one, that one? They talk as if they're united when they speak on FBA. And the Africans are the reason Black people around the world is in this position, because the Africans is weak. The majority gets the blame for what's going on in the diaspora. If Black people in diaspora are at the bottom, it's Africa's fault. The Africans have betrayed Black people globally. They're failures. They're the ones let the European come in and take people and take everything. What can they say? This is their mess. The diaspora is a mess that Black African men made. Black African men is responsible for our position in the world. That's a fact. There's a fact. How are you going to blame the few but not Black? It's 1 billion Black Africans. What? Why do people got FBA in their mouth? We, as foundational Black Americans, have to do what we have to do to survive in the United States. We cannot depend on Africans. You've never seen Africans come over here with no diplomatic backup for us. You've never seen one African country come here and say, we are the support of foundational Black Americans, and if you do something to them, it's a problem with us. They have never backed us militarily, economically, any type of way. Africa has never spoke up for us. We've always been on our own. all Africans ever did was come over here and eat off the table after we fought and put our life together to set the table, and they came and ate. I'm born in 1958. Didn't no Africans come over here until after the smoke. Africans didn't even come over here. Didn't have the ability to come over here. We the ones that freed them where the European let them get on the plane and come over here. If it was for us, the European never would have let your ass get on no plane and come over here. Okay? You was allowed to get on a plane and come over here because of Rosa. Rosa Parks made it possible for Africans to get on planes and come over here. Because if you can't get on the bus, if you can't use the restroom, if you can't sit down in the restaurant to eat, you damn sure ain't getting on no American airline or United Airline. So Africans run their mouth. We the reason you can even come here. If it was still Jim Crow and segregation, you would not be allowed to get on a white plane. You was allowed to get on a white plane after we got on the white plane and made it just a people's plane. Then they flew your black ass over here. Without our fight, you'll never get on no plane and come over here. So they talk about all kind of unity, but they never talk about global unity. They never talk about global wealth. Because check this out. Unity without international economics is a dream. All you Africans and you Pan-Africans talking about unity. Unity. Diaspora unity of Black people globally without international economics, there is no such thing as Pan-Africanism or global Black people if you ain't got no goddamn global money. Tell that to one of these little babies out here, this big Pharaoh. Really, I'm the king of this shit since all my predecessors have passed away. You've got no international Black business. So you want to unify internationally based on what? Europeans are internationally unified financially. They're financially unified. Who's back in NATO in Europe? Who's put the money up in America? America. If you don't have any international business, there is no such thing as no Black international unity without no money. If you're not thinking globally, financially, you ain't thinking nothing. So foundational Black Americans, we're thinking about us. We're thinking about national economics so we can survive in this nation. We're not trying to unite with other Blacks because to unite with other Blacks would take international business. And you know how it go. If it ain't about money, it ain't about shit. That's how you Pan-Africans. If it ain't about no money, FBA, listen to me. When they come to you and tell you to unify, you tell them if they ain't talking about no money, tell them to shut up talking to us. Because you can't even get a wife to unite with you if you ain't got no money. Ain't nobody broke, fuck messing with nobody broke. We don't want to talk to Africans. We don't want to talk to Caribbeans. We don't want to talk to no other blacks. We as foundational Black Americans want to talk to each other and get our money right. And when they got some money to bring to the table, then we talk. When Jamaicans got some money to bring to the table, we'll talk. When Ghanaians and Nigerians and Ethiopians got some money to bring to the table, we'll talk. But if you ain't got no money to bring to the table and you can't control your wealth in your own continent, you shut up talking to us. Because you Jamaicans let the Chinese come in and build your highway and you paying toll to China. You let the Chinese come in and buy all your beaches and Europeans buy all your beaches. You can't even go to the beach. So I sure ain't trying to unite with no Jamaicans that ain't got nothing. Ghanaians, you're broke. You barely could buy gas. And you got an old crook as your president robbing you blind. Nigeria, you're broke. You got Islamic people coming in, unaliving the Christian farmers. You got a crazy substance abuse situation going on. All your doctors, all your great Nigerian doctors and your smart Nigerians leave and never come back. When Nigeria is supposed to be the leader of Africa, it's not supposed to be Ethiopia. It's supposed to be Nigeria. Nigeria is supposed to be the economic hub for Africa. Nigeria is supposed to be the way for blacks to get back to Africa. Nigeria's got the biggest population. Nigeria's got the most educated black people in the world. Nigeria. And Nigeria's over there, a slave for Shell Oil Company. A slave. Always running their mouth. Always beating on their chest, even when they go to other countries. And Nigerians ain't nothing but a slave. Nothing. Let the European come in and take everything you got and destroy your whole country, leave oil everywhere. Nigeria is a waste site. Where they let them Europeans come in there and pollute the whole country. They'll never get that oil up for years. Look how they get the oil in the black man's country. You ain't gonna see nowhere in no white country them get the oil like this and do this like this. They gonna try to have all type of things in place to get it in the cleanest way. But for the black folks, they like whatever. So now all the Nigerians want to flee and go to Europe and come to America and then want to talk crazy and can't even stand on nothing in Africa. Got to flee your country. How you going to help me? You talking about unite. We unite. With who? Unite with who? Y'all got all that money, all that oil, all that gold, and this is what y'all streets look like. It ain't a street in America like this. And look at the can. Look at the can. Shell. Look at the can. Show you who own them. Look who owns them. Shell owns them. And you got some guerrillas trying to fight, but that's a waste of time. Nobody wants this smoke because I'm the only one know about the Delta and all that. I know all this stuff. I know more about Nigeria than Nigerians. That's a fact. Burkina Faso ain't got no hope. Burkina Faso, man, let me tell you something. Toure is a sucker. Okay? Look at Nigeria. Man, Toure is a sucker. Y'all young. Y'all ain't no real revolutionary, so I can't be mad at you. That man in Burkina is a sucker. He's a sucker. Okay? He's going nowhere but to the graveyard. He ain't no revolutionary. He's a fraud. These the people that freed that country. This guy with the beige on. He's a puppet for the Russians. This Burkina, who flag is that? All right, then. Y'all really believe that was a revolution? Man, stop. That man is a puppet. Okay? That man ain't no revolutionary. This is Burkina. This is your revolutionary. This is Burkina right here. That's the Russian flag. This the mercenaries in there for the Russians. That man ain't no revolutionary. That man is a pawn. As soon as they get through with him, they're going to put two in the back of his head. This who's running Burkina. Y'all really think them blacks know how to handle them weapons and stuff over there? This who's handling all of that. Who is this with his face covered up? Y'all think these black dudes run stuff? This black dude with the blue hat on or this dude in the front right here? Who running it? Who it look like running it? And look, he like, don't show my face. He like, look, he like, don't show my face. That's why the American general said he want to go in there and do them dirty. Because they with the ops. They with the Russians. Everybody thought that the brother was talking dirty about Burkina because of the black brother. No, it's because of these dudes. The blacks don't run it. America want to make sure that Russia don't run it. It's a fact. But y'all don't know nothing about Sekou Touré. Y'all don't know nothing about Kwame Nkrumah. Y'all don't know nothing about Idi Amin. Y'all don't know nothing about none of that. But the OGs, the ones that been in the game for a while, we seen this movie already. I think this a rerun. Y'all don't know about Sankara or none of that. This is a rerun. When they get through with him, they're going to put two in the back of his head. When they get through with him. They're going to put 2 in the back of his head. Listen, y'all know how to read language? I'm from Chicago. We know how to read body language and faces. Look at the white dude with the green on. How is he looking at dude? Look at the one behind him in the beige. How's he looking at him? Look at the one behind him, all the way on your left in the beige. Look how he's looking at him. But really look at the one with the green with the blue and white shirt on. How are they looking? Like we finna eat you, like we gonna eat you for lunch. Look how they looking at him. He from Africa, he don't know. Why you think the world fears? Now, let's say I'm dude, and they looking at me like that. I'd be like, why the fuck you looking at me like that? I said, okay, why the fuck you looking at me? I had the guys grab them. I had the guys grab them. Grab them. They trying to run a overplay for the underplay. The one in the green, I drag him outside. And you know the rest. And I'll do it right in front of these other 3. And then the one in the back behind him, I grab him outside. The only 2 I leave is the one he's shaking hands with and the other one smiling. I tell him to go home and tell him we got a deal, but don't come down here playing with me. No, he think them his friends. He's shaking hands with the devil. And that's your revolutionary. This your revolutionary right here. Look like a sucker to me. You don't look like no revolution to no real revolutionary, but whatever. Look like a sucker to me. That's why you don't see me cheerleading for him. You can write his obituary. You might as well write his obituary now. Because they is not there to be his friend. Look at the one to his right with the black. Why they got their faces covered up? The Africans' faces ain't covered up. But look at the white dude in the beige and look at the white dude in the black. Why are their faces covered? I think that's a fair question. All you gotta do is look. You can tell this boy ain't never been on a tank in his life. He looked like he been on that type of machinery before? No. Okay? And the picture's worth 1,000 words. You see that gun he's holding? What do you see over top of that gun? The Russian flag. The Russian flag. That's who you knew who run the thing. Whoever got their flag up owns the place. So I'm saying all this to say what? Foundational Black Americans, we don't got time. We don't got time. We don't have time to be wasting time with Africa. Africa's light years behind. Africa's still going for the same okie doke that they went for at the Berlin Conference. Only this time the Chinese is there. And I can show you the Chinese all the way across to Ethiopia, Kenya, the Chinese. The Chinese and the Russians is battling, and they're using the Americans as the bad guy. We ain't like the Americans. So that's how they befriending them. Now, We can't survive with that. We're way over here in the United States, and we cannot afford to be dreaming about no diaspora unity, especially with some people that's slow. Because he's slow as hell. Because look how the Chinese man looking. He's slow. Them people ain't his friend. And this is why they want to keep them separated from us, because we know the game. And the rest of the blacks don't. The rest of the blacks are behind us. We already know the game. So that's why we're the most hated blacks. Because they know we know. So they want to keep us away. You know what I'm saying? Because we know. We know what's going on over there. If I go over to Africa, this is going to come get me. Putin's secret army. Like paid mercenaries. Well, y'all know about the Wagner group? So I'm saying all that to say, unity without international economics is a dream. And we need international economics. And the diaspora is not ready for that. The diaspora is not ready for economics on a global scale. They're not ready for that. So we cannot be talking about no unity with the other blacks. They are not ready. They are not. All that talk about unified, no. Foundational Black Americans cannot be concentrating on no unification, especially from people that would have you concentrating on unification while they come and eat off of your plate. Okay? Because if the Africans, many of them could trade places with you, they would. They'd come take your jobs, your homes, your stuff, and eat off your plate. It's Africans drowning left and right, north of Africa, trying to get the hell out of Africa. Africa is a failing continent for Black people. Every Black person in Africa is bought and paid for by America, China, Russia, France, and England. Bought and paid for. Ethiopia is nothing but Starbucks. So there's no hope of no global wealth. They're not speaking of global wealth. They're not speaking of getting together to develop global wealth. They're talking about unifying to put us to sleep, to put foundational Black Americans to sleep with a fake concept of unification. And I'm telling you, foundational Black Americans, you don't let no divided Africans tell you that we're divisive. It's a trick. How can an African dare get on YouTube and say that FBA is pushing divisiveness? When in Ethiopia, they got 3 different flags and they don't like each other. Nigeria, the Muslims are unaliving the Christians. Ghana, 2 or 3 different tribes. They don't get along. And Ghanaians don't get along with South Africans. Nigerians don't get along with nobody. Tigrayans don't get along. None of them get along. And then they say, Foundational Black Americans are divisive. The most divisive Black people on the planet say that we're the ones dividing Black people. How Africans gonna say FBA is pushing divisiveness? Let's keep it real. Just think about that. You got Africans saying the FBA is pushing divisiveness. You can't make this stuff up. Africans. That represent nothing but divisiveness. Make it make some sense. Make it make some sense. I seen the Nigerian talk about FBA is just pushing divisiveness. This is Nigeria. They talk about, and they say we pushing divisiveness. It's 103 different types of Nigerians that do not get along. Why they just say Nigerians? They say we should just be Black people, right? They say FBA shouldn't be divisive. We should just be Black people. Why Nigerians ain't just Nigerians? How they gonna be just Black people when they ain't even Nigerians? They all this stuff. Lying. Lying. Foundational Black Americans, we got to do what we got to do because Africa is a failed continent, okay? Do not waste time arguing with no Africans. Don't waste time disliking no Africans. Concentrate on what we have to do economically. Concentrate on what we have to do because they're a distraction. They're a distraction. They can't help us. And do not waste your time. Do not waste any time on Pan-Africanism because it's a total waste of time. Okay? Don't waste no time arguing with people in the Caribbean too because the Caribbean ain't united. Jamaicans and Trinidadians and Barbados, and they not united. Everybody want to talk to us about a bunch of divided Blacks around the world. Want to talk to us about unity. I watched a Jamaican roster. He ain't interviewed me yet because he probably don't want to smoke. And he talk about the divisiveness, right? When the House of Rastafari all broke up. They ain't even rosters. He need to shut up. I can't wait till he got the balls to interview me. He's supposed to be a lion. He running scared. How you gonna tell us about FBA is divisive when they Bobo Shanti, they Nyabingi, they 12 Tribe, they all these different groups that don't get along. Rosters. And then you got all these different Jamaicans, PNP and JLP don't get along. Jamaicans are divided politically. Rosters are divided religiously. But yet it's some roster down there talking about us being the problem of division. And don't want to come get this smoke. Because he a little boy. I don't know who he is. But he not that. He not Big Pharaoh. I don't know who he is. Look, 3,000 different tribes and ethno groups in Africa. 3,000. and they say FBA is divisive. I tell you, man, you cannot make this stuff up. So if they ain't talking no global wealth, don't talk to them. You go tell them what Big Pharaoh said. You tell them, man, you talking some global wealth, I unite with you. As soon as they come to you and say, FBA is divisive, ask them what they got, united, and you'll join it. Say, show me what you got united, and I'll join it. And they going to shut up because they ain't got shit united to join. They just hating on us, don't want to see us do well, okay? And let me tell you something. The same dog will bite you in the morning, will bite you in the evening, and some Africans was behind the slave trade, so you can't trust no Africans, okay? Yes, I said it. Why would I trust an African? I'm not saying every little one, but I'm saying I would never trust the African continent. They couldn't even, they're the most embarrassing continent in the planet. You don't see no whole bunch of Chinese in slavery. You see the blacks. You see where the black Africans couldn't even protect their own people. Couldn't even protect us. Never came to look for us. Was too weak to build ships to sail and come fight for us. Now all of a sudden they want unity. And it's like, where the hell you been? We are right now. We don't need you. You a day late and $1 short. I don't need no African. I don't need Africa. I don't need Africa. For what? What I need Africa for? For what? For what? Why I need to unite with Africans and blacks in the Caribbean? Where was they in Alabama when we fought to ride these buses? For with no economic trade, it allows these other countries to mistreat their black population. Man, let me tell you something. Black Americans are 50 million. 50 million. Let me tell y'all something. Foundational Black Americans are 50 million. 50 million. Okay? 50 million. Okay? It's more of us than most of the countries in Africa. Okay? We would be the 10th most populated country in Africa. Okay? Out of 54 countries. So don't be listening to the Africans. They don't know what they're talking about. We are more powerful than 44 countries in Africa. We would be before Algeria. And mind you, black countries, because as you can see, some of these countries Arabs run. Africans don't even run them. Africans don't even run some of these countries. Nigeria is the most populated, then Ethiopia. Arabs run Egypt, then the Congo, Tanzania, South Africa, Kenya, and the Sudan. We would be right behind Uganda. We would be the 10th most populated country in Africa, ahead of all these other countries. We got more people than all these countries. Some of these countries ain't got nothing but 5 million people, 1 million people, okay? Keep it real. Don't let nobody fool you, okay? Let's take a break and then we'll finish. Now, look, this is not about hating on Africans. This is about foundational Black Americans. Unite with yourselves. Unite with yourselves. I would advise you to just stop even talking to the Africans and stuff on social media and talk to each other and let's figure out what we got to do. We over here, if Trump come to these cities and start acting crazy, we on our own. We have to defend ourselves. Ain't nobody going to come from Africa over here to help us. It's time for foundational Black Americans, Blacks in this country, to focus on what we got to do. I've been around many rosters and many international settings for Black people. And there was no love for foundational Black Americans and no effort to make anything better for foundational Black Americans. If you was a foundational Black American roster, they always tried to little boy you. And that's why I was so powerful as a roster, because I stayed like a Chicago dude. I didn't do no Caribbean roster. I'm the Chicago roster. I didn't do no trying to change the way me talk, I ain't do none of that. I didn't do none of that. You cannot waste time arguing with somebody. We have to circle the wagons and unite here in the United States. We have to isolate and unite and keep other people out of our business and out of our circle because they ain't coming nothing but for distractions. You shouldn't be on social media arguing with Africans and Caribbeans and other Blacks. You need to be building with FBA. Let Tariq do that. He's good at that. Let him fight that battle that he does well because he's educating while fighting them. And the rest of us, let's build. Because we on our own. You can't depend on no Haitians because Trump liable to throw them out. Then what? So it's like us foundational Black Americans, we in the belly of the beast. We have no allies. I'm not saying they're enemies, but they're not allies because what is an ally if they can't be there to assist you? And they cannot assist us in any kind of way. Their whole dream of back to Africa is nonsense. Africa is the mother. The children should not be begging the mother to they come in the house. The mother's supposed to go out and get her children. And the fact that Africa can't reach out and get his children just show you that Africa is worthless. Africa can't even take care of the children they got in Africa. Why are we dreaming about some nonsense? Africa is a false, fake dream. We're many miles away from Africa, and a lot of our bloodline is from here. There was blacks here already. Our blood is not pure African blood. We're ancient Egyptians that came here before slavery. We're Moors that came here before slavery. We're West Africans that came here way before slavery. And we're the indigenous people that been here ever since the continent split when the Pangea split. We've been here. Africa's not our home. This is our home. Africa's not my home. Africa's not my home. This is my home. Africa is an ancient, I have an ancient connection with Africa. But all the West Africans came from East Africa, and they don't call themselves East Africans. Look. Let me show you something. If you think I'm lying, go and watch this. I advise all foundational Black Americans to watch this. It's called the Ghana Queen Mother Part 1. Search it. Ghana Queen Mother. And she will tell you that all Africans come from East Africa, from Egypt. We are Hebrew Israelites, ancient Egyptians, and tribe of Shabazz. That's who we are. There was hardly no West Africans. Ghanaians, Nigerians, all of them come from Egypt. Go watch it. She'll tell you the history. I saved this video. If I was you, I would download this video so you have real ancient Black history. And she would tell you that all of them West Africans came from Egypt. Facts. Ghana Queen Mother. Go watch it so you know the real history. Why am I saying that? Because if they came from Egypt, but now they call themselves Ghanaians because they're in Ghana, then we're foundational Black Americans because we're in America. They know they came from East Africa, but they don't identify as East Africans no more because they built the culture in West Africa. And we built a culture here. And this is what we are. We have no connection to Africa. I acknowledge my lineage back to Egypt, but that's my ancient lineage that nobody identifies with when it comes to socially. Socially, you identify with the lineage where you're at. Even to the point, if you're from Chicago and you're 20 and you move to LA and now you're 47 in LA, you're a Californian. You're no longer a Chicagoan. You represent California. For 30 years almost, you've been doing everything California. We've been in this country. This is what we are now. We've been here for generations, back to the 1700s, 1700s. Why would you not claim this, your land, especially when your blood is in the soil? If you know anything about revolutionaries, if you know anything about warriors, ancient warriors, the key to your connection was blood in the soil. Once the Europeans spilt out blood in this soil during slavery, with all the lynchings and beatings and burnings and plunging us and knocking holes all in us, how much we bled into this soil, this is ours. Your blood is in the soil. Your blood is in the soil. If a brother moved here from Nigeria, his blood is in the soil in Nigeria and Africa. He would have to be here a long time before he would have blood in the soil. We've been here for hundreds of years. We've been here. This is who we are. And this is not a fight for Africans. This is a fight for white Americans that don't want to admit this is ours. They're trying to say this is all theirs. There's going to be smoke over that too. Because we was here before white Americans. White Americans came with Christopher Columbus. Blacks was already over here. White Americans are Europeans. But they're respected as Americans from me because the blood in the soil. They did fight for it. They had to fight against the British. So I can't say they belong in Europe once all that blood they shed against the British. They're Americans. They're white Americans. They have the blood in the soil. But the problem with them is we got the blood in the soil too. And a lot of blacks was here before you got here. We're doubled up because there was no whites here. But there was blacks here. And those blacks, they took and they mixed them with the other blacks to create slaves. So don't let no weirdo tell you that you are more and all that. No, they made everybody sleep with everybody, and your blood is mixed in the soil. Don't let no weirdo tell you, no. Say, we've been here. The people that been here have mixed. The blood is in the soil. So the people that been here have mixed. You have mixed with the people that came a long time from Africa, mixed with the people that was here, the blacks that was here, because they was taking anybody into slavery. If you don't believe it, go watch 12 Years a Slave. If they captured you, they put you into slavery. They didn't care nothing about you being anything. They capture you, you're going into slavery. Know that. This is yours. Yes, I got blood to go all the way back to Egypt, but I'm also a Sioux. I'm Sioux. I'm Native American. I'm an Egyptian Native American. This is my great-grandmother. This is my mother's grandmother. She is a Sioux. She lived 117 years in Alabama. Her son, my grandfather on my mother's side, is African and Sioux. My father's side is African. mostly. But my mother's side, that's why I'm red like that, is African and Sioux. I've been over here. You can see she's a Native American. Look at her. Lived in Uniontown, Alabama. And my grandfather lived right up the road. He lived here and she was right there down the road. You can tell they had been there since slavery. So this is ours. This is ours. And we want our reparations. And we don't want to talk to nobody about nothing if they're not talking global wealth. Y'all make sure y'all tell them I'm arming you with what you tell people when they come talking about the diaspora and all that. When they come talk to you about the diaspora and all that, you tell them what's up with the international business. That's what you tell them. When they come with that, you tell them what's up with the international business. Because unity without international economics is a dream. Thinking about unifying with the Africans without no money being unified is the dumbest thing in the world. So us foundational Black Americans, we have to unify our money. We can't worry about the other Blacks. We have to start to put our money together, our ingenuity together. We can't worry about the other Black folks. That's a big distraction. I wasted a lot of time in my life with Pan-Africanism. If I knew what I knew now, I never would have messed with Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is a failed ideology. Okay? A waste of time. You're going to waste your time like I wasted mine with Pan-Africanism. We are foundational Black Americans. And we must stick together and build wealth and demand our reparations. If that's it, that's all. It's that simple. And you don't be wasting no time arguing or nothing. You know the model. You know what to tell them. You tell them this. Don't play with FBA. Fat Joe found out. Vlad almost found out. Listen, stop playing with us. Go on about your business. Don't play with FBA. Don't play with us. Because we're not messing around. And I want to give a big salute to Tariq Nasheed for coming up with that whole concept. Because I never really liked American descendants of slaves. Because I ain't just a descendant of slaves. So I don't like no title that says slaves. Because we was more than slaves. So I like foundational Black Americans. Tariq Nasheed is going down in history for that. We'll no longer be Black Americans, Negro, colored, none of that. All that's over. It was a beautiful thing for me to live through that, live through color and Negro and African American and Black to get to foundational Black American. She came up with American descendants of slaves, and I want to salute her too, because she the one pushed the concept, and then Tariq seen it and improved it. So they both were superstars because she's got a lot to do with Tariq thinking about it. That's why they need to patch up their differences, because Tariq's mind is so intelligent that I already know when he seen idols, that made his mind start spinning. And I know, I can tell you, he ain't like that slavery. I know he didn't like that in there. So no matter what Tyreek say, Yvette birthed his mind to do that. Because she was the first one out there like that in the social media era. Because in Copra and all them, they was trying to do too much. They was trying to mix it with Africa and all that. And I'm going to talk about that. You cannot do no global reparations. Every black person on the planet have to do a specific reparation to the specific country that enslaved them. The Haitians cannot work with us. The Haitians have to focus on France. The Jamaicans got to focus on Great Britain. We got to focus on the United States. Okay? That's who we have to focus on. The United States of America. And just for those that don't know, let me show you who you focus on. Don't be arguing with Africans or nobody. Focus on who owe us the money. And guess who owe us the money?
13 corporations that profited from slavery. So here we go. Number 1, J.P. Morgan Chase. Between 1831 and 1865, 2 predecessor banks, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted approximately 13,000 enslaved individuals as collateral on loans and took ownership of approximately 1,250 of them when the plantation owners defaulted on the loans. Number 2, New York Life, an insurance company, sold insurance policies on enslaved Africans. Number 3, Wachovia. 2 historical predecessors owned enslaved Africans and accepted them as payment. Number 4, N.M. Rothschild and Sons Bank in London. Nathan Mayer Rothschild, the banking family's 19th century patriarch, made personal gains by using enslaved Africans as collateral in dealings with a slave owner. I have a list of this, so if I stumble, it's because I have a lot of chicken scratch. Number 4, Norfolk Southern, offered slaveholders $180, that's $3,379 today. This article was written in 2013. So that's $3,379 today a piece for enslaved Africans they would rent to the railroad for 1 year. The Central Georgia, another company aligned with Norfolk Southern Line today, valued slaves at $31,303. Today that would be $663,033. Did I say that right? Yes. $663,033. Hopefully that came out right. Sounds weird. Number 5, U.S. Today found that their parent company, E.W. Scripps and Gannett, had links to the slave trade. Number 6, Fleet Boston, evolved from an early financial institution. Providence Bank founded John Brown, who was a slave trader and owned ships used to transport enslaved Africans. The bank financed Brown's slave voyages and profited from them. Brown even reportedly helped charter what became Brown University. Number 7. CSX used slave labor to construct portions of U.S. rail lines under the political and legal system that was in place more than a century ago. 2 enslaved Africans were John Henry and Reuben. The record states they were to be returned clothed when they arrived to work for the company. Number 8. Canadian National Railway Company. The Mobile and Ohio, now part of Canadian National, valued their slaves lost to the war and emancipation at $199,691 on record. That amount is currently worth $2.2 million. Whew. Number 9. Brown Brothers Harriman, the oldest and largest private investment bank, founded 1818, owned hundreds of enslaved Africans and financed the cotton economy by lending millions to Southern planters, merchants, and cotton brokers. Number 10. Brooks Brothers, high-end suit retailer, got their start selling slave clothes to various slave traders in the 1800s. They got their start by selling slave clothes. Number 11, Barclays. British multinational banking and financial services company headquartered in London, has now conceded that companies brought over the years may have been involved in the slave trade. Number 12, Lehman Brothers. This business empire started in the slave trade. Quote from Joe Pelizotto: "This is a sad part of our history or our heritage. We're deeply apologetic. It was a terrible thing. There's no one sitting in the United States in the year 2005, hopefully, who would ever in a million years defend the practice." 13. Aetna. Aetna? Aetna. U.S. largest health insurer, apologized for selling policies in the 1850s that reimbursed slave owners for financial losses when the enslaved Africans they owned died. Aetna has long acknowledged that for several years shortly after its founding in 1853, that the company may have insured the lives of slaves. A few other corporations, companies that profited from slavery: Princeton, Harvard Law School, Tiffany & Co., Bank of America, Yale University, and Wells Fargo.
Those are the people that we are after for the money. Okay? Those are the people there. Those are the ones that put all the money in. So when you hear white Americans say, why should they pay? They don't have to pay. The United States government have to go get the money from the companies that made that money, because the United States government allowed those companies to make money off of slavery, and those people should pay it. And those people have that money. What we want for reparations, those people have that 10 times over. They have the money. They have the money. So that's it. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Support reparations. Stand on business. Don't let nobody run over you when it comes to reparations. Okay? Stand on it and study it. Get some books and study reparations. All right? Victory.